Thanks, everyone. This is a real honor. Thank you, Barry. So I want to talk really quickly, actually not about invariant, but about something even broader. I have 3 goals in college. I'm just going to start broad. So I want to become a better pure problem solver, a better decision maker, and better at something I'm going to call getting it across the line. So to dive really briefly into each one of these, pure problem solving. I see that as making myself a better abstract thinker, being able to take in a lot of pieces of disparate information and form structures that I can use to relate to one another and engage with complex ideas. Thinking about decision making, I want to reshape the way I approach problems, understand the way that my cognitive biases and other impediments in my intuitive processes influence my judgment, and become a better rational decision maker. Finally, this kind of bundle, catch-all, getting things across the line. This is what I see as the essence of taking what I learn and the quality that I'm able to bring to my classes and transferring it into projects that aren't dictated by a grade or a strict incentive system. And this is what I really want to focus on in my talk today. The last piece of background that I want to give everyone is that I see my time being divided 3 real ways. The difficulty of my classes, the achievement standard that I hold myself to in those classes, and the third one is the extracurriculars that I involve myself in. Like Morgan mentioned, if you look at my transcript, all you'll see probably is a string of high letter grades. But I think that what's hidden behind that is all of the sacrifices that I've made and the way that I've had to trade off between these 3 categories. So that's what I really want to talk about today. So the last thing I need to say is that when push came to shove, I've always prioritized first my achievement in my classes, doing well in what I take on. Second, taking hard classes, making sure that I'm expanding my thinking as much as I can while I'm here. And then third, my extracurricular involvement. So why is this relevant? The question that I was asked to address is what do I wish people knew about my accomplishment? And I'm just going to tell you a really quick story. So it was mid-September, and I'm on the Glee Club executive board, and we were planning the biggest event in our history. It was 11:30, and everyone was tired, and we were all eating Panda Express. I think you can imagine. And I had to walk out because I had an exam the next day. And the whole walk home, I was thinking, is this optimal for my learning? Would I have learned more by staying in this meeting, by engaging with these smart, interested people who are passionate about our community, or would I have learned more from my compiler's exam the next morning? So this is the question that's kind of been going around in my mind. And then when Barry asked me to give my thoughts on this question, it's the first thing I thought of. I'm going to give another example. I was teetering on the brink of being able to manage my schoolwork this semester with a lot of schoolwork and a lot of outside commitments, and then I got in a bike crash. And the first thing to go was my beloved personal project, Invariant, that I put so much time and energy to. I had to start missing deadlines that I had set, and when I started missing deadlines, the people that I was asking to complete their deadlines to me started missing their deadlines, and the whole thing came down like a house of cards. Luckily, our funding is continued through the next semester, so I have one more shot at this. But I think I'm going to go into the next semester with a reshaped set of priorities. So beyond this question of what have the sacrifices that I made and how have they impacted my learning in this space of getting things across the line, trying to achieve the same quality that I bring to school as I bring to outside projects, I think some of the people that I respect most and that I look up to most at Michigan are the kind of people who are amazing at this last category. And I want to tell you about a couple of them today. So the first one is Teddy Gottfredson. He's in the Glee Club with me. And over the last 6 months, Teddy has been planning one of the biggest events in the Glee Club's history, the Bicentennial Male Chorus Symposium. It was hundreds and hundreds of hours of work on his part, and thanks to grants from the university and a lot of work from other Glee Club members, we were able to pull it off, and it was an incredible event. And through it, I saw Teddy become an amazing leader. And now I just know he's the kind of guy, if you ask him to get something done, it's done. It's done well, it's done quickly. Another one is Matthew Tice. He's my roommate, and he is one of the smartest people I know, but also one of the most committed people I know to extracurriculars. And the learning that he gets won't show up on his transcript. It won't show up in his class choice. It won't show up in his achievement. But to give you a really quick example, so he's the project lead on one of the big Blue Lab teams and the head of the Hyperloop team. And we decided that we wanted to put a projector up in our house. Pretty college thing, I'd say. And we didn't want to block the window, right? It's really important to have light when you're in your living room. And he's like, oh, I'll just build an arch. I'm like, okay, build an arch. We'll see, right? The next day, it was not only an arch in our living room, it was a beautiful, stained, finished arch with like bracketed supports. It was gorgeous, and the next day we were watching movies on the projector. So these are the kind of people, really quickly, thinking back on my goals, that I wish that I had been able to devote more time to this getting things done, getting things across the line, to be more like them. And I think that this is the kind of thing that doesn't show up in any transcript. It's the kind of thing that doesn't show up in my personal website or anything. If you looked at everything, you'd think that I was a great executor. But from the inside, I know that I have a huge amount of difficulty transferring the same quality that I bring to school as I bring to outside projects. And I think that that's going to become really relevant in the workforce when I'm asked to do things and take initiative on things. I'm not able to take as much initiative as I would if I had a strict incentive structure. So the last thing I want to leave you with is a couple of my brief observations about the way that these three systems have interacted in terms of the incentives that I've been guided by. I think incentives are great. I like incentive systems. They really push me and they make me learn. But I found that the incentive systems between hard classes, doing well in classes, and involving yourself in extracurriculars are not always aligned. And I just want to propose it to this community of much more educated and interesting people than me to think about how we can better align these systems so that people like me don't have to make that trade-off, and people like Matthew don't have to graduate with a low GPA. So thank you. I'll be around if anyone wants to talk more about this. Thanks.